Hello there and welcome to Life on Tour with me, Andrew Cotter, presented by Hilton. It is a European Tour podcast where we get the chance to speak to some of the great and good of golf. We are here in the rather fine, and that is underselling it, rather fine Waldorf Astoria ahead of the DP World Tour Championship, the season-ending finale of the European Tour. So this is a rather special season-ending finale for Life on Tour, this podcast. And some of you who are listening on the podcast, regular subscribers, we love you for doing so. You may be driving through the drizzly rain into Rotherham or some such place, but you should be aware that I have a live audience in front of me, many eyes watching me, so I can only prove this by demanding a small round of applause from our live audience here. Oh, you guys. Thank you very much indeed. That was a shameless attempt to get some applause. But anyway, what happens is usually on Life on Tour, we speak to, as I said, the great and good of the European Tour. We have had, among others, players Justin Rose and Luke Donald, Martin Keimer, Eddie Pepple, Thomas Bjorn, many, many more who you can listen to if you want to go back into the back catalogue on Apple's or Acast. Subscribe to it. Enjoy some fascinating chats in there. This evening we're going to be speaking to 5 people, though. I should tease who they are. I'm just going to tease you. I won't give away the names. One of them, their name rhymes with Francesco Molinari, so I'm going to say no more than that. Again, just a reminder before we start officially, you can listen to the whole of the series 1 of Life on Tour, a binge listen. Subscribe and listen on Acast and Apple Podcasts. So we will crack on, and we're starting, dare I say, at the very top. Our first guest is the boss, so everyone look busy. Please welcome the Chief Executive of the European Tour, Keith Pelley.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, Keith. How the devil are you? Well, the cushion's fallen down. I'm sitting up quite high now. There we are.
How does this work here? All right.
I know I saw you the other day on your way to the golf course to play in the Pro-Am. How did you play?
How did I play? I got dehydrated for a little bit.
The excuse is starting.
Yeah. And I didn't putt very well, and they weren't my clubs.
Okay.
But other than that, I played great.
Okay. Which pro had the pleasure of your company? Who are you playing?
Andy Sullivan.
Andy
Sullivan. And he birdied 4 of the last 5 holes. And I'm not saying that we had a wager on, but I just didn't think that would happen. And I ended up having to give him some Durhams.
Okay. We will get all the truth from Andy later on. But anyway, listen, give us a sort of look ahead to this week, because we're here in this spectacular setting, but the whole sort of feel of Dubai and the Tour Championship is kind of spectacular, and it does look set to be a great week.
Well, it's fantastic. The weather is great. The tournament is celebrating its 10th anniversary, and it keeps growing year after year. DP World are terrific partners who believe in the growth of our game and believe in creating this tournament to be very special. It's pretty exciting to get underway tomorrow, and we always love playing in Dubai, and we play here a couple times a year, at the beginning of the year and then at the end of the year, and this one is definitely special.
Now, you know what we do in Life on Tour, and I'm sure you do now, I'm sure you're a loyal listener, is that we do delve slightly deeper into the background of our star names. So I do, just before we talk about various matters, I want to get a bit on your background, because that's, 3 years now you've been Chief Executive, but you are Canadian?
I am Canadian, from the thriving metropolis of Toronto. Yeah. And I came over here with my charming bride and my 2 children, Jason and Hope, some 3 years ago, and we wanted to go on an adventure, and we're on one. There's no question. We've obviously the European Tour travels all around the world. It is more of a world tour than a European Tour, playing in 30 countries, and I think I've been to all of them, and it's been just absolutely a great privilege, great opportunity to travel with my family, to see the world, and at the same time be involved in a sport that I love.
And you've been involved in sport in other sports as well before that. The Toronto Argonauts, I want to know about the Toronto Argonauts, football team, soccer team.
Yeah, it's an American football team in Canada, and I've been involved in the Toronto Blue Jays as well, which is...
Did I get that wrong? So it's an American football, so is it gridiron? Or
yeah,
is it
Toronto
soccer?
Argonauts is American football.
See how closely I've been paying attention to the fortunes.
It's part of, it's called the Canadian Football League, which is American football. I've also been involved with the Toronto Blue Jays, which is Major League Baseball.
Baseball, I was about to say, yeah.
So it's, I've had a very fortunate career, been in the right place, the right time, a couple of times, and this certainly is another case for that here at the European Tour.
Yeah, go Argonauts. So how have things changed?
You would say go Boltman.
Go them.
Or just Argos.
Argos.
You wouldn't say go Argonauts, so that's kind of embarrassing.
How are the Argos doing this season, or has the season just started?
The season is over, and unfortunately they didn't make the playoffs.
Okay. And I think what we've established in the opening minutes of this interview is that I know nothing about the Toronto Argonauts or Canadian American football.
But then again, we came over to London, and I couldn't believe how passionate sports fans are about their football. Are you an Arsenal fan, or you're a Leicester City fan, and
Argonauts.
And I'm just, it's incredible the passion of football, which is soccer, in my world.
Well, part of your job, I imagine, then, is taking what you've learned from other sports into golf. Even though you're a passionate golfer, you have learned things from outside the golfing realm. So I presume that's been key to the last 3 years and going forward.
Well, I think I've had a great opportunity to be involved in not only sports but in the media for the past 25 years, running television, radio, publications, digital advertising networks. So it's been a great career to date, but this was completely different. I've never worked in golf before, never worked for a members organization where I basically work for the players. So it's been fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the key aspects that we seem to see from your time at the top is that you have to stress that sport is, above all, entertainment. It's a product to be sold by various people, and among those people are the players themselves have to sell that product.
There's no question the players are the recipe for success, undeniably. But it is about entertainment, because you're not following sport, you're not following anything that you do in your leisure time unless you're being entertained. So from my perspective, we are an entertainment company where golf is our platform, just happen to be in the world of golf. But if we don't look at ourselves from an entertainment side, then we're not going to increase the engagement, increase the people that are involved in our sport, involved in our tour, so that's where it starts. It starts with the culture, and the culture is definitely an entertainment company.
And in changing that culture slightly and bringing in different formats, which there have been many, obviously look at the Shot Clock Masters, the Belgian Knockout, or whatever it might be, the Super Sixes or the Hero Challenges that we've had, that you have to try different things.
Well, I think you have to be prepared to, in any business that you're in at this particular time, you have to be prepared to modify yourself. You have to be looking at saying what is next. People are consuming content differently now. They're watching what they want, when they want, how they want. Short form content is something that is really is critical in today's age. So if you're not prepared to actually adapt, try things differently, and be afraid to make mistakes. As long as you make more right decisions than wrong decisions, you should be okay. But so we've tried some formats. We've tried a couple of different things. Some have worked, some haven't. But you're constantly trying to improve the product, and improving the product means increasing your engagement. And if we can increase our engagement, then we're all winners. Because engagement at the end of the day is nothing more than a form of currency. And when we look at the key performance index for metrics for our particular business, it is about creating playing opportunities, prize fund, and making our athletes stars. And in order to do that, we need to increase the engagement. And in order to increase the engagement, we need to be an entertaining company. And you have to be prepared to change. And change is not easy. So some people embrace change, and others fight it. And what's very interesting is in a members organization, everybody is at a different time of their life, whether it be an age, a different time in their golf career. You might be a young up-and-comer, you might be an older journeyman, you might be a legend in your twilight. And to change their thoughts holistically is very difficult, because what might work for one person might not work for the other. And that's the greatest challenge that we have in the golfing world.
I'm intrigued as to who the players are that have been, you're not going to name names, have been resistant to change, and some who might have surprised you have been really, embracing the change.
Well, what I found is that the professional golfers, are different than working and running teams, because they are individuals. And they've had to do so many things on their own, despite having managers, but they've had to make many decisions, and it's a completely different athlete. I'm very inclined to say that the golfers are incredibly passionate and bright and interested in what's happening with their tour, because it directly affects them. So have they embraced change? To be honest with you, more than I would have thought. Right? But there has been some naysayers, and there have been some people that want to keep it the way it always is. But that's like in any business that you're changing, or any business that you're modifying, you'll get resistance. But if you don't continue to look to change, you're going to fall behind in this day and age very, very quickly. And there are great examples of it. Companies that didn't believe the internet was going to be real. Didn't believe that you were going to be able to communicate with people like you do now, that you were going to be able to use this phone as a device that is not only commonplace, that is essential in all facets of your life. So it is a changing world, and that is in any business, but certainly from a golf perspective, it has to change. And one of the ways that it's changing, and one of the great innovative approaches from golf that has happened is Topgolf, which is adventure golf, where it becomes the golf environment is a driving range, but with restaurants and music and instant gratification with a computer right there, and every ball has a chip in it. And it's being launched here in Dubai in 2019. And that will engage a younger, different audience to our game. And if somebody had talked about golf, Topgolf 10 or 15 years ago, and it was a purist, might not have seen the benefits. But I see the gargantuan benefits of a new format, or a new way of engaging in our game, and that's Topgolf, and which is adventure golf.
I mean, there are a lot of changes happening in golf. A lot of changes happening to the more conventional form of golf in terms of the scheduling next year. There's got to be a big change to the structure of things. Is that just something that the European Tour has to live with and adapt to, and are you happy with that going forward?
Well, I think the schedule changes when they came out, and what the changes were for the live audience here that we're chatting with. Some of the major events in the U.S. switched and condensed the actual time frame, where it made it very difficult for the European Tour during a period of March to the beginning of the summer for us to have tournaments that were of the same size and magnitude of that in the U.S., based on the major championships, which are the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship, and Augusta, and the Open Championship, which are the four majors in golf, condensed into a time frame. So if in fact with three of the four majors in the U.S., it gave the U.S. Tour a significant advantage and a leg up on the European Tour. So when you have those challenges, you can choose to hide and run away, or you can look at it and say, where are the opportunities for success? Where is the opportunity that we can be the number one tour in the world? Where are those places in the schedule? And so we had to look at our schedule completely different. However, when we released our schedule of our main tour about 10 days ago, it's completely different than it was a couple of years ago. But from a member's perspective and from an opportunity for us to be successful, I think it is very strong. And when you look at at the beginning of the year in the Middle East, we have a tournament in Abu Dhabi, then in Dubai, and then in Saudi Arabia. We take a couple weeks break, and then we have an event in Qatar, in Oman, and then our season, and then we give a little bit of a break for the U.S. tour, and then at the end of the year we come back guns a-blazing with the DP World Tour Championship, which is our ultimate event.
There are always the two sides of it, though, because you, as the European Tour boss, are trying to organise the best schedule for the European Tour. And then the players, as you said, they're operating as individuals. They're trying to work out their best schedule. Mm-hmm. And Rory McIlroy this week, for example, has said that he might not be keeping up his European Tour membership because, the biggest names who you want to have in your tournaments, of course, are driven by what's best for them to win the majors going forward. So that must have been frustrating to hear that this week.
With Rory?
Yeah.
Well, Rory's a world-class player, and many of our top players are such. And the schedule has changed and has made them look at their schedule a little bit different. But then Rory if Rory was here, I would imagine that he would say that currently he's not playing at the level that he would like to play at. And he feels that he has to try something different. That condensed 4 majors really makes it difficult for him to play over here at that particular time. So he's going to concentrate on the U.S. in the short term. He will play over here again next year. How many he'll play, I think we've talked about. It'll still be determined. But then when you look at Rory, then you look at somebody like Alexander Schauffele, who is the 12th ranked player in the world, just joined the European Tour. And then you look at Bryson DeChambeau, who's number 5 in the world, has just joined the European Tour, and Patrick Reed is playing here this week, has rejoined again. So they're all global players, and at the end of the day, they want to be global athletes. Rory is already firmly established as a global athlete, but I think his partners and all his stakeholders want him to play globally, and we're very convinced that Rory, regardless of how many times he plays this year, will play a lot in the coming years on the European Tour.
The knock-on effect would be, though, if he didn't fulfill his membership criteria, could things change in terms of the regulations to allow someone as big a name as that to still play in the Ryder Cup?
Well, if he wasn't a member in the year of 2020, during the Ryder Cup year, no, he would not be able to play in the Ryder Cup. I don't see that being a possibility. I think Rory will continue to evaluate his schedule, but I'm pretty confident that he will be eligible to play in the Ryder Cup in 2020.
Now let's finish on some happy Ryder Cup reflections, because it's been a huge year. Whenever it's a Ryder Cup year, it's massive, and then for the European Tour, when Europe wins, it's even big. I mean, it's so important for the European Tour.
Oh, it's an incredible event. I was stunned, astonished, the size and magnitude of it when I went to my very first Ryder Cup in 2016 as the chief executive, as really a spectator in Hazeltine. I was so elated with everything that transpired in France. We had 270,000 people from 90 different countries over the 4 or 5 days, which is incredible, based on the fact that there are so few matches a day. So the opportunity for all the people to come together and celebrate, and it really does galvanize the entire continent. And that's what Ryder Cup does. It's one of the few times in our game where our sport becomes tribal, where it becomes patriotic, where you're playing for your country or your continent, and it was magical. There's no question. We had a world-class captain, right? Oh, is Thomas here?
He might be here. Let's not look too far into the future. There he is at the back of the room.
Oh,
actually,
there
yes.
he is.
Okay, we're going to
No,
be.
to be totally honest with you, Thomas created an environment in that team room, and if you are doing the interview with him, have him talk about the team room. Like, have them ask about the pictures, ask about what the theme was, ask about the camaraderie. I've been around professional sports for so many years now, and the camaraderie and the environment that Thomas created was truly legendary and was a massive factor of us being successful in France.
Was it better than the Toronto Argonauts' thumping win over the Ottawa Snowplows? I just made that team up.
It was the Argonauts won the Grey Cup, the championship, by beating the BC Lions in Ottawa in 2004.
Oh, British Columbia! Oh, I hate them.
Yeah, that's very good. No, it was magical. Everything about the Ryder Cup was terrific. The first tee to have 10,000 people there shouting, it was electrifying. And then in 2022, because every 4 years we operate the Ryder Cup in Europe, it'll go to Rome. We're already talking about the Colosseum being the host of the opening ceremony, us doing a couple of gala dinners inside the Vatican. The place we're playing is just 11 miles from Rome. There's an incredible Waldorf Hilton there, which is spectacular, and that's going to be the key team hotel. So it's going to be great.
I'm excited about it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for Keith Pelley.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Thomas Bjorn to the stage. Hello, Thomas. Keith, the boss, told me what to ask you. Told me to ask you about the team room, but we'll get to that in a moment. You are the first double guest on Life on Tour. We did an in-depth interview with you, and it was Gothenburg, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
I think it was. You've done so many
interviews.
interviews.
It wasn't very memorable, obviously.
It wasn't memorable at all. No, for neither side. No, it was memorable. It was... I mean, to say it's been a busy year for you is an understatement. How has the year been?
It's been interesting. It's been there's a lot of work that's gone into it. It's been one of those. It's one of those projects that you set out in your mind and you don't really know what it is. I had a lot of indications of what the Ryder Cup captaincy would be like, but once you get into it and you start working on it, you realize it's much bigger than you could ever imagine. And the last 3-4 months was very hectic, and when the team started shaping up, and so the year's been interesting. It's been hard work, but it culminated in something pretty special.
It was. I mean, let's go in depth into events at Le Golf National. Actually, I was reading an article the other day, which I can see you're raising your eyebrows in surprise already. But it was about the analysis that went into picking your wild cards, the data, because we were watching the likes of Garcia or Stenson thinking, well, Garcia's out of form. But then I was looking at this article and it was saying, actually, the analysis showed you, and now we can see it, that actually he wasn't too far away. It's just an example of the detail that's gone into for you to make your picks.
Yeah, well, I think when you make these decisions and picks, you look at so many different things coming into it, and yeah, the statistics of how they're playing and what they're doing on the golf course, yeah, that's one part. And then there's so many other things for me that played into it. But once I sat down with 15's Club and started going through Sergio's game and where he was, it actually showed quite clearly that he was doing everything you needed on that golf course. He was doing that quite well. He was driving it pretty straight. He was hitting quite a lot of fairways. He was hitting a lot of greens. He wasn't great around the greens, but on that golf course, that was very much a key for us to have good drivers of the golf ball. And when you look at the 4 picks, they are all great drivers of the ball, and we needed them. We needed that kind of player to play that golf course. So that played a big part. And then you know Sergio, for the one that got criticized the most leading into it. There's so many other things that he brings, but I always go over one thing with Sergio is that the European Ryder Cup team and the team room is what it is, and it's something that's very difficult to explain in words. But the one thing I always felt like the best part of that week, he's always at the center of it. He's always the one that brings people together. He's fantastic with the experienced players. He's fantastic with the young players. he makes other people better around him. And also for a captain to kind of get a message through the team, he's a perfect vehicle for that. So when you have conversations with him, he kind of understands where you're coming from and then sends that through the team. So you have a player, before the Ryder Cup I said it's a bit like having a captain of a football team. You know, there's the guy you turn to most, there's the guy you talk to, you have conversations with. He has a lot of experience, but he's also a very good communicator with the other players. So he makes it work. And I will say, from the second I set foot in Paris and I saw those 12 players getting together, I've never felt a team that was so determined and so focused on what they wanted to achieve, and that made the captaincy very easy to guide them in the direction I wanted them to go. So much comes down to the way they were. They were really fantastic, but he is at the center of it. But all those 4 picks were, very experienced, and they all came to Paris almost with a point to prove, and they came out of it in a really good way. But it was pretty cool to watch from the sidelines.
Do you think there was any sort of sign of hubris from the American side of things? Because we were all told that this is the greatest side since 81 Walton Heath. That it was such a great American side that you and your players had, as you said, a point to prove, not only as wild cards, but as a team saying, well, we're not too bad either.
Yeah, but when I looked at it, I looked at the 2 teams, and I haven't gone to a Ryder Cup and thought ever that the Americans didn't have a great team. That's, you go in and always knowing that how strong they are and what they're capable as golfers. I looked at the team that we had, and I thought this was one of the strongest European teams I've ever seen. So we focused on what we had to do, and we never really talked about the Americans. We never really looked at what they do and how they try and achieve things. We very much looked at what we were, and so I never had any focus on Jim and his team. I knew how strong it was, and I honestly didn't really realize until Sunday in the singles, when I started watching the 12 matches come down on the tee. I thought, when's the weak player going to come? And for some reason in 12 he never arrived. It was a very strong team, but it kind of showed me where my focus was. I was focused 100% on our 12 and not so much on what they were doing and what they were capable of.
Right, that's enough serious stuff. Let's talk about the team room. What did you have in the team room, first of all? There's always some sort of entertainment in the team room. What were the games?
Well, we built the team room up in we were in a wonderful hotel in Versailles, and Waldorf Astoria for some funny.
Oh, fancy that.
There you go. But we were in a wonderful hotel in Paris, and our team room was in a location where the Treaty of Versailles was brought after. It was signed in the Chateau de Versailles, so it had a lot of history, and there was a lot of things that around the place that we were and the historic place we were in. So that was easy to bring Europeans together in a world of, we are in a historic place, we are in the history of what we are as Europe. And I felt like the presence of the Versailles and all this was something that the players really had looked forward to. We played there for so many years. And there was a pride in these players when they walked into that hotel about Europe, and to kind of guide them from there into trying to relax the mood and doing things that very much plays it down. You got to remember that these 12 players, and six of them came from America from a pretty hard FedEx Cup. They came and they had played a lot of golf, and a couple of them were dragging their feet, and Justin came with a very thick wallet and thinking about his victory in the FedEx Cup. So there's a lot of things that they came with, and when you go through a week like this, that's a long way from Monday, landing in Paris Monday morning, and then till Friday when it all starts. And I think the way I surprised them a little bit was, I think they all had a kind of idea, well, he's going to just throw everything at us, and he's got to be very much talking about the importance of the Ryder Cup and what we need to do this week. And I felt like I wanted to kind of take a different direction with them in making it very calm and relaxed the first couple of days. I had only one request from them pretty much on all the way till Thursday, and that was that they got 18 holes in on Tuesday, so we knew the golf course and what we what we were talking about. But I wanted it to be very relaxed, and I wanted them to recover. I had put a lot of emphasis on nutrition, the physios, the doctors we had there, so they could all recover from a very hard fought FedEx Cup and get themselves ready for Friday morning. So all the entertainment, over the years we've had motivational speakers and we have had all sorts of things. And I toiled with all the ideas, but in the end I thought, you know what, sometimes when you come from a position of lost the last time, you got to come in and just want to win this. It's not about who you bring into the room and what you do. It's about what those 12 want to do. And that was kind of the tone for the week was, no, we got to achieve this. 12 players, captains together and go and try and win this. So I brought in I made some good videos, made a lot of fun about them. The first night, we brought in this Irish impressionist that really took the mickey out of all of them. So there was nobody left out, even I wasn't left out. So it made it quite good fun, and it set a good tone for the week. And then Tuesday night, I have two really good friends that were the best table tennis players in the world of their time. It's very much a part of what we have at table tennis in the middle room. Brought them in, had an exhibition with them on Tuesday night, and that set the tone for it being relaxed. And then we kind of built in, and then I threw that big video in their face on Thursday evening, and that was something that caught their attention.
Go on, take us to Sunday night then. Who was the worst behaved player in the team room Who celebrated most heavily in the team room afterwards? Or wherever it was you celebrated?
I think they all got very heavily involved, and
I like that, heavily involved.
Deservedly so. It had been a tough. Any Ryder Cup for the players is a tough week. It's a great week to be a part of, but when you are in it really is a draining week. So they all get quite heavily involved, win or lose on Sunday night, to be honest. So it was a good night. It was, but I think the strongest memories is still from the days of play.
Did you not promise that you would have a tattoo if you won? Was that not? Did I imagine that? Why would I imagine that? That's weird. Did you not imagine? Did you not say that you'd have a tattoo if you won? Has this happened?
It's not happened yet, but it is coming.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, you make promises, you got to stick to them.
I don't know if, for the tone of this podcast, where would one get such a tattoo?
Yeah. I said at the time it's only Grace that will see where it is.
Okay, I've lowered the tone. Anyway, listen, thank you very much. Actually, no, just before we go, I want to ask you what's next for you, because a Ryder Cup captain puts his own golf kind of on hold. You tried to play a bit, but going forward, you said in our last chat on the podcast, said you would look at the Stay Shore Tour, the Seniors Tour, and think about that. So you must be inspired by Westwood and what he's done. He's just a couple of years younger than you.
Yeah, that was pretty special last week. I thought it's nice to see that golf still has this kind of span that once you've been a great player, it never really leaves you, and there's some great possibilities. And yeah, you got to pick and choose your places to play. You might not be able to compete on all the venues that we play, but you can certainly compete on some of them. And I think for me, I dedicated all my time and all my work to this captaincy, but now I feel like I can start refocusing it a bit on myself. And the last 2 or 3 weeks have been really interesting for me in the way that I'm starting to, the pieces are falling into place, what I want to do. There's still a few ifs and buts out there, but I feel like I'm getting to a place where I'm first and foremost a golfer, and I like playing the game. I still love traveling. I still love being a part of the tour. So I'm slowly guiding myself in that direction, that I'm going to give it another go and see where 6-8 months of hard work is going to take me, and see if I can get back to be competitive. Because the last 3 weeks, as much as I enjoyed being on tour, I don't enjoy being 4 over par after 6 holes. That's not who I am. So you've got to give yourself a chance to get back, and also realize it's going to take time. But I feel like that's where I am right now. I want to get back to try and just play somewhat competitively.
Excellent. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to Thomas Bjorn. Right. Anyway, Thomas is off to the Waldorf Astoria's tattoo parlour. I didn't ask what tattoo he was going to get, just where it was going to be. But anyway, we look forward to news of that, or perhaps we don't. Anyway, Lee Westwood has sneaked up onto the stage. Hello, Lee.
Hello.
In a pretty good place at the moment because, I mean, an incredible week. We saw the emotion of it last week, but has it ebbed away now, or are you still have you still got that glow?
I promise I won't cry tonight. Yeah, I'm obviously still elated by last week and feeding off those emotions and, hoping to carry that kind of form and putting game into this week. It's a difficult balancing act, really, between, using last week as a kind of as the momentum for this week, and also calming yourself down and reassessing your goals and your focus for the coming week. Because obviously, last week was a big week, and you need to settle down and get on an even keel, and think very clearly about this week.
Yeah, I mean, a big week, a big win. It's a big event now. The Rolex Series event, your first win in one of those. But did you ever start to doubt? And people said, since your previous European Tour win, what was that, April 2014? It's a long time. Did you start to doubt? I mean, you came close in Denmark, but there must have been the doubts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no spring chicken anymore. I'm 45 years of age, and you start to think, am I getting, too old to compete with these young lads? And am I putting enough hard work in? Because to be honest, I don't really practice that much anymore. I have other priorities, kids and different ventures and things like that. So the practice I do is serious practice, and I probably achieve more than just standing on the range, just having a chat most of the time. I get down to hitting balls properly, and I do hard work in the gym, and I work more on my mental side of the game now. So, I still do a little bit of work on that, but you do start to doubt yourself. I've had a lot of chances recently and not finished it off, so that they all sort of snowball and knock your confidence. But you've got to, as a golfer, you win very little. I've played probably 750 tournaments, maybe more, and won 43 times. So that's quite a low percentage. You get used to not winning. You get used to getting knocks and disappointments. So you have to look on the positive side of things and use those as inspiration. And I tried to do that, and keep putting myself in contention and churning out good rounds. And all of a sudden, I put four together, and on a golf course I love and I'm comfortable on, and I get the win.
Now, we're not going to get all schmaltzy on you. It's not what we do. But for American, everything's so special for you to be there with Helen on the bag. But how does that dynamic work? Because obviously you've had very, very good professional caddies throughout your career. Most recently, Billy Foster, who's about as good as they get, but a very different dynamic. Not only does he not jump into your arms when you win, but he's a full-on caddy. Whereas, how does it work with Helen?
She kind of brings a sort of a calmness to me on the golf course, not so serious side. She doesn't know that much about golf. She's got the basic understanding of it, but I hit a 7. It's just an example. I hit a 7-iron into 17 last week, and it was probably in the top 3 shots I've ever hit in my career under the situation. And she looked at me and she went, "That was pretty good," and she didn't even know we were in the lead. So that is great for me to be with somebody there that's just seeing it as it is, really, rather than blowing it out of all proportion. She looks at it and she looks at me and she thinks he's playing golf for a living. He's getting to do what he loves. She brings a not so serious element to it, which is great because I've been battling it, like blowing it up out of all proportion and making winning tournaments mean everything, and it doesn't really. I get to go out and play golf. There's more important things, but that kind of takes the pressure off me.
But a lot of us would imagine that, if we're in a partnership with someone, wife, spouse, significant other, special chum, that when you're in a tense situation like that, it's like being in a car. Those are where the arguments happen. Do you bicker on the course? No,
not at all. She's more likely to point out a nice flower on the ground or what we're having for dinner, what we're going to have for dinner that night, because, carrying a golf bag around a golf course is hungry work. It makes you hungry. So, we're more likely to talk about that and than which way I put brakes or which way the wind's blowing or something like that.
I like that. Right, okay, give us your Ryder Cup experiences, because you were one of the vice assistant captains. I mean, it must have been difficult for you. Great to be part of it, but also not quite part of it.
Yeah, the first 2 days I found really tricky. I felt like a bit of a spare part, to be honest. And, getting your head round not playing is, when you've played the last 10, was tricky for me. But as the thing got closer, as Friday got closer, I started to enjoy it more. And Tom started to, rely on us a little bit more and give us a few more responsibilities and jobs to do. And, once it sort of got closer, I started enjoying it and seeing and appreciating what we could do for the rest of the players.
And it's no secret that you want to be a Ryder Cup captain. Lots of players do. So do you start to look at, this is the one that might be ideal for me? Do you still feel you get, time as a player in the Ryder Cup?
Well, I mean, obviously last week's proved to me that I'm good enough to compete and I'm pretty consistent and I can accumulate enough points to maybe play in the next Ryder Cup. But, I'm not getting any younger. To play in another Ryder Cup at the age of 47 would be even more special, I suppose, than the previous 10 I've played, especially having missed the last one. And obviously I've got an eye on being the Ryder Cup captain, hopefully in 4 years' time when it's in Italy. I'll be the right age then and I'll still be in touch with the players that are going to be in the team, but I'll have accumulated the knowledge and I've done the vice captaincy. So, I've kind of got an eye on each of those things. But it's difficult to let go of being a player in the Ryder Cup because it gives you such a buzz and such a thrill to, represent Europe and try and win points for your teammates.
Can you imagine doing the opening speech as a captain in the Colosseum?
In Italian?
In Italian, yeah, exactly. So 4 years to get ready for that.
Just stand there and go like this, don't you?
Yes, exactly. Oh dear. 25th season on the European Tour for you. Now that makes you feel old. But going back...
It does, but it's gone very quickly.
Flown by.
Yeah.
But tell us some of your favourite memories. I mean, obviously the very recent one, but going back, what stands out for you?
We were just talking back there about, the first time I came to Dubai, and it was for the Desert Classic in 1994. And I stayed by the airport, and literally there was nothing between the airport and the Emirates Golf Club. This place has changed pretty quickly. And life on tours changed quickly as well. We were playing for tournaments where the first prize was £33,000 back then, and now we're playing. Last week I won 1.25 million. So, over the years, it's all changed a lot, and I've had a lot of great experiences. I've been fortunate enough to win the money list a couple of times. Once the money list, once the race to Dubai, and played great in 2009 to nick it off Rory. All the wins are very special. Getting to world number one's very special. All the Ryder Cups, win or lose, I've got fond memories of. There's just been so many great moments over the years.
Can I ask a question that I'll back away slightly as I ask it, but of your...
Why are you moving away?
Because you scare me slightly. But of your efforts in the majors, is there one that you think, that's the one? Because
that's why you moved away.
That's why I'm moving away, out of reach there.
Yeah, I mean, if I could play a shot again, it would be on the last green at Turnberry. When Tom Watson and Stuart Sink played off, I thought I needed to hold the putt to get in the playoff with Tom. He was in the middle of the fairway behind me. I thought he was going to make 4, and I knocked it 8 feet past and missed it come back and missed out on the playoff by a shot. So, you can't. There's no point in thinking about it too much. But that would be the one shot I'd play again. But I've had a few close calls in major championships. I could be sitting here with 3 or 4, but I didn't quite do the right things at the right time.
Thanks for that, Andrew. How hungry are you to get back into... Well, you're close to getting back into the Masters then now. And the Masters is a place where you have come very close, a place that you obviously love. Yeah,
I've finished second there a couple of times and third a couple of times, I think. And, it's one of those special places. It's a little bit like Sun City. It's a golf course that once you... It took me a long time, but once you get the hang of it and, understand the places to hit the golf ball... you could, even if you're not playing well, you can see a way around it and you can compete that week. So I'd love to be back in the Masters. It's a special week, and if I kind of put everything together, it's probably my favourite tournament.
What a pleasant way to end, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Westwood.
Thank you.
Anyway, listen, we've got our next star guest up on the stage, Shubhankar Sharma. A round of applause, please, for Shubhankar.
Thank you.
Hello. So, first appearance at the DP World Tour Championship. But let's talk about your season first of all, because a great season. Great right at the start of the season, well, at the end of last year, if that makes any sense, in Johannesburg, and then winning in Malaysia as well. I mean, you just leapt on the scene. That must have been fantastic for you.
Yeah, it was. It's my first year on the European Tour, and it has been amazing. I remember when I went to the Q School last year in Spain, I missed out on my card, and I really wanted to get out here and play with the best players in the world. So I got an opportunity in Johannesburg, and I led after the second round, and I was lucky enough to win that tournament. And got a 1-year exemption on tour, so I was really happy about that. And then to win again in Malaysia 2 months later was again a dream come true.
Just give us a bit about your background, because golf in India is fascinating. Obviously, a kind of huge country, 1.3 billion people. But you, I'm thinking of you, Anirban Lahiri, SSP Charesia. They're not from, really privileged backgrounds. How did you get into golf?
So my dad, he's sitting right there. He was in the Indian Army. And most of the golf courses in India are owned by the defense services. So I was lucky enough that wherever dad got posted, we weren't at a place for more than 3 years. And wherever dad got posted, there was a golf course there. So I was just lucky enough to, just start playing golf.
Was that mostly in Bhopal, when you went to Bhopal?
Yes, Bhopal was, it's in the middle part of India. And that's where dad was posted. I think it was 2004 or 5. Actually, I started before that, but 4 and 5 was when I actually got into golf, like really seriously. I really wanted to play golf. I met a professional golfer there who used to play on the Indian Tour, and he taught me how to hold the club and just the basics. And that's when I really got into it, started playing on the junior circuit after that.
So is golf growing in popularity in India, or is it, it's still a minority sport for a country that size, but how popular is golf?
It's getting there. Cricket obviously is the biggest sport in India by far. It's a religion back home, and I would say golf is really getting along now. We've had so many winners over the years. This year we've had 5 Indian winners on worldwide tours, and that's really good for our country and for golf in India especially. We're getting more coverage in newspapers, more golf courses opening up. Junior tours doing really well. We are producing new players every year. And we are heading in the right direction, and hopefully in the next coming years we'll have more and more players on the worldwide tours.
Were you a good cricketer? A lot of good cricketers are good golfers, and I'm just wondering if it goes the other way. Were you a decent cricketer?
I was all right. I wasn't great.
Batsman, bowler?
Bowler.
All right.
Bowler.
Pace?
So, pace, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pace bowler. But I played when I was a kid, like every other kid back home in India. We all played cricket. So it was a lot of fun, but just wanted to get into something more serious. I was a very serious kid and got into golf. Me and my dad actually started on the same day. No one in our family played golf. We just went to a golf course one day. Dad got himself a set. He actually bought a car and he got a set as well. So he got both, and he got me a cut down 2-iron, and that's how we started.
Okay. How old were you when you first beat him?
When I first beat him,
We'll see if it's the truth. He was going to nod at this one.
I think I was about 11 or 12 maybe when I first beat him. Yeah.
Is that true, roughly? 11 or 12? Yeah, that still remembers that painful day. Listen, with your victories, then suddenly you reach an elevated status. You're well inside the top. You get to well inside the top 100. You're playing the WGC in Mexico, and a chance to meet some of the players who you've idolized as well. I want to know if this story is true. When you met Phil Mickelson.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So. Obviously, after winning Malaysia is how I got into WGC in Mexico. And I remember when I got there on Monday, I was just starstruck being on the range with all of these players, Mickelson, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnsons, all of these guys. And, I just got on the range, and for the first 10 minutes, I just looked at everyone, their swings and how they were hitting it. And I had a decent start to the event. I was leading after 2 days. And I remember on the third day I was practicing, I had about an hour to my tee off. And Phil was putting on the green, and one of my good friends was caddying for me, who went to college in Arizona, which is the same for Phil. And he was wearing the Sun Devil hat, and he was like, "Let's go and say hi to him. He's about to tee off. We'll just go and say hi." So I came on the green, went up to him. I was like, "Hi, Mr. Mickelson." And before I could say some more, he hit a few putts, and you could just see it on his face that he was like in a zone. He just looked at me and he's like, "Not right now." I'll see you after the round. So he probably thought we were media or maybe spectators who just jumped the rope. And that was pretty funny, but he didn't really look at us. And after that, he obviously understood that I was playing the event. So 5 seconds later, he came back. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I was just not thinking, and well played till now, and have a good day."
Yeah, he changed his tune like that, basically. Welcome to our world. I've heard that "not right now" answer so many times. But you're in his league. But what about Tiger? Did you get a chance to... Were you too nervous to meet Tiger?
I was in the start. I was, everyone, not only me, but so many kids back home in India have idolized Tiger growing up, and I was one of them, just watching YouTube videos of him and just watching him play. So I was nervous, definitely.
Where was it you first saw him in the flesh then?
I saw him when he came to India for an exhibition tournament. I think that was 4 years ago. I think he was playing in one of the events here in Dubai, and on his way back, he came to India for a day, and he played 18 holes, and there were so many people. That's when I first saw him. He played at the Delhi Golf Club, but this year, I think the first time we played in the same tournament would have been probably the Memorial. Probably the Memorial. No, actually the Masters is when we actually played the first time. And even at the British Open, I was on the range and he was hitting balls right behind me, but I couldn't really go and say hi. He was really in his zone. I didn't want to disturb him.
Oh, you weren't scarred by the Mickelson incident, were you?
No, not really. But I was just nervous going and saying hi. But I met him. I met him at the Bridgestone in August, and we spoke for about 5 minutes, and he was really kind.
So were you as excited as most golf fans when he won the Tour Championship in the United States? I mean, the crowds, the scenes there at the end were amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we all knew it was going to happen. Just the way he was playing, he came so close to winning, even at the British Open when he was leading, and the PGA as well. So he was playing so well, and we all knew it was going to happen eventually. And all of us were obviously very excited for him. He is definitely in the top 3 and the greatest players in the world of all time. So there was no doubt that he was going to win, and I'm pretty sure he'll win a major too.
It's interesting the way you talk, Shubhankar. You talk, very humbly, and not as if you don't belong out there, but you talk as if these are your heroes, your idols. But you belong out there, and I suppose you've got to. Do you think you've got to develop a hard edge, a certain self-belief to compete at the very, very top in the majors?
No, I know I have the self-belief, but as a person, this is how I am. So I'm not going to change that. I've just grown up this way, from being a kid to, I remember last year I just dreamt of playing on the European Tour. I've seen it on TV for so many years, and I really wanted to get on tour. And I remember I was heartbroken when I couldn't make my card at Q School. But things change really fast. I won in South Africa, I won in Malaysia, and that's what gave me confidence that I have what it takes to win out here on the big stage. And then obviously I was leading in Mexico as well. So I definitely think I have the game. But as a person, I'm pretty much going to be the same.
What are your aims and ambitions then? Having won twice in the European Tour, what is the do you set yourself goals, next steps in your career?
Winning is always tough. Like Lee just said before me, winning is always tough in golf. But consistency is what I would look at for next year. This year has been great with 2 wins and a few top 10s, but I would definitely want to play better than this year next year. And if I can get a win or 2, and even if I can get more and more top 10s, that'll just give me confidence. And obviously my world ranking is going to get up as well.
Where do you live now? Where are you based?
Still in India. I'm from a town called Chandigarh, which is the same place as Jeev, who's a legend back home in India. He's won 5 times.
And his father's a legend as well.
His father's an even bigger legend. He has a movie on himself, and they're both legends.
Yeah. Thank you very much indeed to Shubhankar for joining us. Shubhankar Sharma, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Shubhankar. Cheers. It cannot help but have escaped your notice that Francesco Molinari has sneaked up onto the stage. So a round of applause for Francesco.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's remind ourselves, a bit of an audio reminder of Francesco Molinari and his great victory at Carnoustie.
Rolls it forward and in it goes. Listen to that roar. And a punch of the air from Francesco Molinari. What a performance. What a performance. 8 under par.
And it is official. Francesco Molinari is the first Italian to win the Open Championship. This 147th Open at Carnoustie belongs to Francesco Molinari. Congratulations.
And Phil Mickelson shakes the hand of Francesco Molinari. And Europe have won the Ryder Cup. And it's the Open champion, the new superstar of European golf, as Frankie goes to Hollywood and seals the deal for Europe. Bedlam out here on the 16th tee.
I said it was Carnoustie, but of course a little bit of the Ryder Cup in there. Why not? The Open Championship. And we embarrassed you there a little bit, Francesco. You're quite a humble man. But it must be a bit of a shiver to your spine as well. Just looking back. I know you want to look forward as well, but looking back on this year, it's just been incredible.
I'm actually looking forward to look back, if it makes sense, because I haven't had much time to sit down and really reflect on what's happened. So that's obviously going to be easier from next week. But yeah, great memories. I thought you were was gonna hear your voice in the open commentary. It was a bit disappointing, but I'm probably not a big enough star for you. I know that.
No, exactly. That is true. I would say it's not, but it's true. No, I was out by that stage. Anyway, so listen, we played 2 clips there. Obviously, we played the Open Championship and the Ryder Cup. How do you evaluate the two? It's like deciding which of your children is your favourite. I mean, it's the handsome one who's going to make you more money. But I mean, which of those 2 do you hold more special memories of?
You can't compare them. Obviously, they're very different. One is probably the best individual achievement you can hope to get, and the Ryder Cup is just so special. Really impossible to compare. I think the Ryder Cup is just a different joy, a different satisfaction, and it's probably, if anything, bigger than winning a major. Just because of the team environment, because of, Thomas was here before, the friendship you have with those 11 players, the vice captains, the captain. It was just amazing, and I think Thomas did a great job at creating the best team atmosphere I've been a part of.
Okay, we'll come on to the Ryder Cup in a moment, but let's go to Carnoustie though, because the performance to win, it looked, and so often your golf does look unflustered and unruffled, but the adrenaline must have been flowing. But what, you went bogey free for the final 37 holes? Yeah. Again, it's incredible to think of it on a course like Carnoustie. The Saturday, obviously, we got good weather and not much wind, and the course was a little bit softer from the rain on Friday. So there was obviously a great round, but you can see someone going bogey-free on that day. But then on the Sunday, obviously, with the wind picking up and being in contention, I don't know. I don't know how I did it, but I was calm somehow that Sunday. I show up in the morning, and I knew I had a chance. I knew it wasn't going to be easy because there were almost every top player in the world was up there with the chance, and somehow I was calm. I knew I was going to do my job, my own thing, and it could have been enough. It could have not been enough, but that's all you can do in those circumstances. You speak very calmly. You play very calmly. We like the idea of Italians. We think they're sort of these incredibly outwardly passionate people. There's some national stereotyping for you, but we saw with Costantino Rocca, and I don't know. Have you always been calm? No, not always. No, I've been as a child, like as a probably 10, 12 years old. I was actually really feisty, and my dad did a great job at just stopping me from the beginning. So were you a club thrower? Yes, and breaker and everything, yeah. But any stuff like that, it was tell me like 3 weeks without golf,
that was the worst punishment. Obviously, he could give me. So after a couple of times, I learned to contain my my rage, and probably my caddy is sitting there would disagree completely right now. But
there he is. Hello, Bale. How are you? So is it just bubbling under the surface? Is that true? Has he got a temper, Bale? Yes, yes, he says.
Don't say any more.
But there is a darkness within. Good, I like that. But having Eduardo as well, two brothers who are so good at golf, growing up, that must have been a big help because you're sort of competing against each other and with each other against so many other juniors.
Yeah, massively important. I think even more coming from Italy. There's not that many golfers in Italy, so to have someone that is almost as good as you.
Oh, it's cold. Our next guest is Eduardo Molinari, ladies and gentlemen.
No, he was actually better than me.
He was better, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You said was, though. At least you recognize the difference now.
Actually, on that,
let's move on.
No, well, you must almost wish for success as much for him as you do for yourself, though.
Yeah, I do, as long as he's not competing against me.
Tremendous. I love sibling rivalry. Right, okay. Well, tell us about golf in Italy then, because Shubhankar was talking about golf in India. It's still, as it is in so many countries, still, a sort of a more niche sport. But is it gathering pace in Italy? I mean, we're looking forward to the Ryder Cup there.
Yeah, it is, and I think obviously my year this year with the results has been important, like it was, maybe around 2010-11 when both Eduardo and I went on the Ryder Cup team and Matteo started winning on tour, and you need those moments to get the public watching golf on TV. And then obviously there's a big excitement about the Ryder Cup coming in 2022. So it is moving. I think Italy is always going to be football first, but there is a lot of sports fun, and there is room behind football for other sports.
Did you get on the front page of Gazzetta dello Sport? Did you?
I did, yeah.
That's big news.
For the Open and for the Ryder Cup, so that shows you that it's changing.
Or it shows how badly the Italian national team is playing. One of those things. I don't know.
I think both, yeah.
I'm Scottish, I can't really comment on that. So anyways, let's talk Ryder Cup then, because it was, as you said, so special. When you got to that course, or when you knew how it was being set up, did you just feel confident, not just because of the way you were playing, but that course is kind of tailor-made for your accuracy, the way you play?
Yeah, it's a course that I love. It's always been one of my favorite courses on tour since I got on tour. But yeah, you never know. Obviously, many of the guys, of the American guys, hadn't played it before, so you don't really know what to expect. They might love it as well, and they might play their best golf, and so there was confidence, but there was also the awareness that it was going to be tough to beat them. But then, yeah, obviously I learned that I was playing with Tommy, and I saw he was playing brilliantly as well, and I think both of our games are perfectly suited to the course.
Well, when did you learn that you're going to play with him? Because I have in my research that you and Tommy plotted your partnership together while on holiday, or was it just mentioned? What was this? When was this?
No, he actually started well before. He started earlier in the season when obviously Tommy had a very strong start of the season, so he was always looking like he was going to make the team, and I started texted him saying, I want to play with you in France.
Why him? Because he's playing really well and you want the points. Why?
No.
Just your personalities go together?
Yeah, just because we're friends. We know each other well, and we enjoy spending time together on and off the course. And obviously, I knew how good a player he is and how well he could play on that golf course, and I just thought we would be the perfect pairing, yeah.
So from texting each other to bring up the suggestion, then do you sort of plant that seed in Thomas's head?
Yes, well, then because he suggested, you're going to be the senior guy in the partnership, so you need to bring the idea up to Thomas, and I was like, okay, I can do that.
What benefits does the senior partner get in the
Well,
partnership?
you don't want to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we spoke with Thomas, but I think he had pretty much the same idea, so it wasn't a big surprise for him. And then we went on holiday together in the summer and, kept talking about it. So there was a long build-up to that week.
Where were you on holiday together in the summer?
We were in Bahamas with the families, not only the two of us.
All right. I was about to say, just said to your
Honeymoon.
Said to your wives, I'm off on holiday with Tommy. Hope that's okay. Perfectly normal. Right. Anyways, well, tell us again about the Ryder Cup. So as you are going through and winning, I presume you're just feeling as confident as can be. But tell us about the sort of Ryder Cup atmosphere and experience. Are you feeding off the crowd there as well?
Yeah, definitely. And, I have to say that the crowds in France were really spectacular. I guess, being the first Ryder Cup in France, we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't know if the chanting was going to be there like it was in Wales maybe or in Scotland. But yeah, obviously the first tee, that stand was massive, incredibly big, and you knew, from the first morning really that the atmosphere was going to be something special.
And for it to come down ultimately to Mickelson's tee shot, but your win over Mickelson in the singles, the atmosphere at the end of a Ryder Cup is always extraordinary. But take us through those moments. It all gets a bit mad.
Yeah, just a bit of chaos really, and probably not my smartest move to jump in the crowd like I did. And really struggling to get out of it, but luckily John Rahm was pulling me, so he's big enough to to get me out of there, and it's just an amazing joy, to share. Unfortunately, in golf, we got the caddies out there with us, and we share the pain and the satisfaction with them, but to do it with other players is something we nearly never get the chance to do. So it is really, really special.
How was the night? Because Thomas was up here early. I don't know if you were here. I can't remember what the phrase he used was for those who drank heavily. Something about indulging, perhaps. But anyway, was it a good? Well, obviously it was a good night. But who was the liveliest player of the night?
I have to say Justin Rose.
No,
Yeah.
No one here believes that. Really?
Number one in the world, and not only in playing golf, probably. But no, it was great fun, and we all, it is a fun week, but it is also a lot of pressure and a lot of tension, and you need to release it at some point, and the party is the perfect occasion.
Justin Rose, look out for the quiet ones. That's all. So I mean, going forward, it's interesting since the Ryder Cup. Obviously, I mean, it goes back. Your season has been successful, but long and successful. I mean, winning at Wentworth, winning the Open, doing 5 out of 5 at the Ryder Cup, it takes its toll, and you have been a little bit tired since then. Yeah,
definitely. I think after the Open, I had kind of a dip, as it's physiological and normal, and I managed to pull myself together in time for the Ryder Cup, and then there was another dip after that, and it is what it is. I think it's a lot of things that's been happening to me in a very short period of time. So I need to learn how to deal with that, and I need to adapt if I want to keep having that sort of success and just move forward.
Well, you're in prime position this week to take the overall Race to Dubai title. I mean, what would that mean? Obviously, it's a sort of justification, vindication for the success you've had this year, but it would be a huge honour.
Yeah, it would be definitely, and I think it's so hard to do, because obviously you can win any tournament, you can have the perfect week and beat the other guys, and it's 4 days of golf, but to win a season-long race with the amount of talent that there is on the European Tour at the moment, it would be something that I wouldn't have believed, to be honest, at the beginning of the season. So I'll do my best to try and win it this week. Obviously, Tommy is gonna try and give me a hard time, and he's obviously talented enough to win this week. So I need to go out and do my job.
I love the way that your teammates suddenly become fierce rivals. I mean, if you were playing in the same group with Tommy when it came down to it, oh, you'd hate each other, wouldn't you?
No, I don't think so. You know, we've been friends, luckily, for a few years now, and you know, if he was to win this week and win everything, obviously he would be the deserving winner. So, you know, Sunday night we'll have a drink together anyway, and
then off to the Bahamas together.
Maybe. I think he's playing Hong Kong, so
okay.
Probably not.
Anyway, listen, so just going forward, winner of a major championship now, great success in the Ryder Cup, but your success has been building and built upon solid principles, so I know Dennis Pugh was he? Where's Dennis? There he is. Hi, Dennis. One of your coaching team is here, so I presume you and he and everyone else will be thinking about going forward and winning more.
Yeah, obviously we can't wait for that, but I think we're all aware of, you know, how much it takes to get to that sort of level, and you know, like you were saying before, it takes a lot out of you, and it's been a long season. So I think first of all we need all to have a little time off, and probably without seeing each other, because we've seen a lot of each other recently, and then we'll start again and try to find ways to get better like we've always had.
Right, our final guest, and our star guest of the evening, whisper it quietly because some of the others are still here, but our Open champion, our Ryder Cup superhero, Francesco Molinari, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesco. Thank you to Keith Pelley, Thomas Bjorn, Westwood, Shubhankar Sharma, Francesco Molinari. Of course, another reminder, Series 1 of Life on Tour. This is the ender for it, but go back and listen to some of the interviews. Subscribe and listen now on Acast and Apple Podcasts. I'm Andrew Cotter. This has been Life on Tour, and we're all off to the bar where Justin Rose is buying the drinks, apparently. Thank you very much indeed. Good night.
To watch another European Tour video, click here, and to subscribe, click here.